Hello there, lovely people of the internet, and welcome back to Fires of Kaladesh, where today we're going to be taking a look at Arahbo, Roar of the World, and we're going to be upping the ante, and I've made a few changes to this deck since I first published this video. So we'll be looking at what changes I've made and why I have made these changes. Now, I found that with Arahbo, due to its beautiful Eminence ability, where at the beginning of combat on your turn, if Arahbo, Roar of the World is in the command zone or on the battlefield, another target cat you control will get +3/+3 until end of turn. I discovered through playing this deck for quite some time that, generally speaking, it's most powerful in the first 3 or 4 turns of the game, where obviously you can pump little cats out, give them that massive boost to power with Arahbo, but then once it gets to mid-game or late game, I found that I was quickly getting severely demolished by my opponents, as the cats just couldn't handle the board states of the later game. So we'd be looking at ways of where you can recreate those first 3 or 4 turns of gameplay and hopefully pull away a victory with a more powerful deck. Now, obviously, this isn't for everybody. I mean, personally, in my group that I play in, the power level has risen quite considerably this past year, hence these changes which I've been making. But obviously, if you don't really have that powerful a level, by all means, go check out the previous Arahbo video. If not, stay tuned and we'll look at some ways you can improve the powers. So obviously the commander hasn't changed, neither has the companion. We've still got Kihira, the Orphan Guard. It's a legendary cat beast with companion. Each creature card in your starting deck is a cat, elemental, nightmare, dinosaur, or beast card. It has vigilance, and each other creature you control that's a cat, elemental, nightmare, dinosaur, or beast gains +1/+1 and vigilance. Now, this has got quite a low CMC, only 3 converted mana cost, and that's kind of the theme which we're going to be going for, is much lower CMCs than what we had beforehand. Still a few of those higher mana value cards, just to really pull in if you are in the late game. But yeah, the concentration will be on lower creatures. So let's start things off, as always, with the new creatures which we've got. So let's start things off. We've got Springing Tiger. It's 3 in a green. It's a 3/3 cat with Threshold, so it's going to get +2/+2 as long as you have 7 or more cards in your graveyard. Felidar Cub is always an essential one. It's 1 in a white. You can sacrifice it to destroy target enchantment, and it's a 2/2 cat. Fleetfoot Panther is still here. Flash, when it enters the battlefield, you can return a green or white creature you control to its owner's hand. So it's just a nice way to be able to save one of your little cats on the board. Elite Cat Warrior is 2 in a green for a 2/3 Forest Walk. Obviously quite a new addition to the deck this one is. The Forest Walk can be quite useful. You find that a lot of people generally do play green. Real Caracal is 3 and 2 white and gives all your other cats +1/+1 and lifelink. And when it enters the battlefield, you can create 2 1/1 white cat creature tokens with lifelink. Feline Sovereign will give them all +1/+1 protection from dogs. And whenever one or more cats you control deal combat damage to a player, you can destroy up to 1 target artifact or enchantment that player controls. Now, obviously, in a multiplayer format, if you're up against 3 opponents, you swing and you connect with 3 of them. It's 1 per opponent, just so you know. Quasali Pride Mage is green and a white for a 2/2 with Exalted, and again, you can sacrifice him to destroy a target artifact or enchantment. A Journey's Pride Mate goes with the slight life gain theme we've got going on as well. 1 and a white, and whenever you gain life, you put a +1/+1 counter on him. Timur's Sabertooth is another excellent way of protecting those vital creatures, where for 1 and a green, you can return another creature you control to its owner's hands, and if you do, you're going to give the Timur's Sabertooth indestructible till end of turn. Whilst not that powerful, he can really change the game for you. Territorial Scythecat has Trample, which is the key word on this one for you. He's a 2/1. Whenever land is the battlefield under your control, you give him a +1/+1 counter. Tabaxi Toucaneers is a slightly newer one. I'll be honest, the main reason it's in here is because of the fact that it has flying. You get very few cats of flying. And it also has Myriad, so whenever this creature attacks, for each opponent other than defending player, you may create a token that's a copy of this creature that's tapped and attacking that player or a planeswalker they control. Then you exile the tokens at the end of combat. Keeper of Fables is a nice simple card draw engine. Whenever one or more non-human creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you get to draw a card. And again, similar to the Feline Sovereigns, obviously if you connect with 3 different players, you get to draw 3 cards. Fleece Mane Lion is a green and a white. You can go monstrous, and if it is monstrous, it has hexproof and indestructible. Sacred Cat is just one of those nice simple 1/1s for 1 with lifelink. Pride Sovereign is 2 and a green, gets +1/+1 for each other cat you control. You can pay a white and exert him and tap him to create 2 1/1 cat creature tokens with lifelink. Jewel Thief, again 2 keywords on this one is the Vigilance and Trample, and when it enters the battlefield you get to create a treasure token as well. So yeah, not bad at all really for a 3-drop. Stalking Leonine, when it enters the battlefield you get to secretly choose an opponent, and at any point you can reveal the player you chose and exile target creature that's attacking you if it's controlled by the chosen player, but you obviously get to activate that once per game. Another new addition is Lion Sash. It's an artifact creature equipment cat for 1 and a white for a 1/1. You can pay a white to exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a permanent card, you give a +1/+1 counter to Lion Sash, and then equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each +1/+1 counter on Lion Sash. Nishoba Brawler is again another one with Trample. Very, very useful in this deck. You'll find that's really, really going to help you connect. 1 and a green, star 3. And its power is equal to the number of basic land types among lands you control. Whilst obviously this may only ever reach 2/3 in this deck, it's the other abilities, and obviously it's the trample on him that's really going to matter. Archbound Mouser is again another 1/1 for 1 with lifelink, as is Charmed Stray. The Tiger, I assume. Tiger is 4 and a white for a 3/4 flyer, and when it enters the battlefield, target human you control, I don't have any, will get +2/+2 until end of turn. Mage's Attendant enters the battlefield, you create a 1/1 blue wizard creature token with pay 1 sacrifice creature, counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays 1. Quizali Ambusher can be played for free if a creature is attacking you and you control a forest or plains. You can just spring it out with flash and just provide yourself a blocker. Quizali Slingers has reach, it's a 3/5, and whenever it or another cat enters the battlefield under control, you can destroy target artifact or enchantment. Prowling Cerbopard is a cat snake which can't be countered, and it means that creature spells you control also can't be countered. Sky Hunter Skirmisher is a 1/1 flyer with double strike. Miri Weatherlight Duelist is an absolutely superb card, highly recommend. It's a 3/2 with first strike, and whenever it attacks, each opponent can't block with more than 1 creature this combat, and as long as Miri Weatherlight Duelist is tapped, no more than 1 creature can attack you each combat. The Adorned Pouncer is 1 and a white for a 1/1 with double strike and Eternalize. Ooh, that's not supposed to be there. The Felidar Sovereign is still in here. It's a 6-drop for a 4/6 with Vigilance and Lifelink. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 40 or more life, you win the game. Long Tusk Cub. When it deals combat damage to play, you get 2 energy, and you can pay those 2 energy to put a +1/+1 counter on him. Very old school one with Savannah Lions. Believe it or not, this used to be a rare back in the day. It's a 1-drop for a 2/1 cat. Leonine War Leader is 4-drop for a 4/4, and whenever it attacks, you create 2 1/1 white cat creature tokens with lifelink that are tapped and attacking. Pride Malkin gives a +1/+1 counter to a target creature as it enters the battlefield, and then each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it has Trample. King of the Pride is going to buff all of our cats with a lovely +2/+1, and finally, Enlightened Ascetic will destroy an enchantment as it enters the battlefield. So obviously, as you can see, we've got much lower mana curve on our creatures now. I mean, it'd be much faster for you to be able to fill out that board, or if not, just pop a couple down. As you're going to see, we've got slightly different tactics now. Let's move on to instants and start things off with a nice bit of removal. It's the classic Swords to Plowshares. So for 1 white instant speed, you can exile target creature, but it's controllable, gain life equal to its power. We've got Heroic Intervention, which is, as all of you stated, is one of the ways which I can help protect my board. One of the issues with the last deck tech I did. And it's going to give permanents you control hexproof and indestructible till end of turn. Crib Swap is a tribal instant shapeshifter, changeling, and you get to exile target creature. Its controller creates a 1/1 colorless shapeshifter creature token with changeling. Beast Within is just a standard removal spell. Destroy target permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 green beast creature token. Path to Exile again. Exile target creature. Its controller may search the library for a basic land card, put that card onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. Bit more protection with Teferi's protection. So for 2 and a white instant speed, until your next turn, your life total can't change, and you have protection from everything. All permanents you control phase out, but then you have to exile Teferi's protection. And last of all, a nice draw spell is Return of the Wild Speaker. 4 and a green, you can choose one. Draw cards equal to the greatest power among non-human creatures you control, or give all your non-human creatures a +3/+3 until end of turn. Moving on to the sorceries now, and this is where you're going to start to really notice the change. So in order to be able to reproduce those first few turns, we've added quite a few board wipes to the deck. And let's start things off with the classic Wrath of God. 2 and 2 white, you destroy all creatures, they can't be regenerated. Fell the Mighty is 4 and a white, and you destroy all creatures with power greater than target creature's power. So for example, you can do this in your first main phase, before you give the Arahbo trigger. Wipe most things off the board, and then obviously pump the cat up and swing for massive damage again. Vanquish the Horde is a lovely one, it's cheaper than more creatures are on the battlefield. Dusk Till Dawn is an old one, but must be appreciated nonetheless. It destroys all creatures with power 3 or greater. As you've probably just seen, that's going to keep the vast majority of our creatures intact. And then Dawn is the Aftermath, which can only be cast from my graveyard. And you return all creature cards with power 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. Cleansing Nova is up next and lets you choose to either destroy all creatures or destroy all artifacts and enchantments. Farewell is a personal favourite board wipe of mine. It is pricier at 4 and 2 white. But obviously the options it gives you, choose one or more, exile all artifacts, exile all creatures, exile all enchantments, or exile all graveyards. Austere Command is up next. Just choose 2, destroy all artifacts, destroy all enchantments, destroy all creatures with converted mana cost 3 or less, destroy all creatures with converted mana cost 4 or greater. A little bit of ramp, we've got Grow from the Ashes, search your life for a basic land put on the battlefield, but if you kick it, you get to search for 2 basic lands instead. Ascend from Avernus is going to help with all these board wipes we've currently got going. So for X and 3 white, you get to return all creature and planeswalker cards with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. And our last little bit of rump is the classic Cultivate. We're going to move on to enchantments next. We're keeping things very set on the ground now compared to what we used to. We have Brave the Sands to give all your creatures vigilance and let them block an additional creature each combat. Felidar Retreat has landfalls. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, choose one. Either create a 2/2 white cat beast creature token, or put a +1/+1 cat on each creature you control. They all gain vigilance until end of the turn. And then last of all is Mirari's Wake, to give all your creatures +1/+1, and then whenever you tap a land for mana, add 1 mana of any type that land produced. Almost to the end now, we're coming up to artifacts. And let's start things off with a little bit of life gain, a little bit of card draw. It's Cosmos Elixir. It's a 4-drop artifact at the beginning of your end step. Draw a card if your life total is greater than your starting life total, otherwise gain 2 life. The Great Henge is an essential card in practically any creature-heavy green deck. It is rather mana pricey at 7 and 2 green, however it does cost X less to cast, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. You can tap to add 2 green and gain 2 life, and then whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on it and draw a card. Moonsilver Key is one of my favourite cards from that particular set. It's a 2-drop artifact where you can pay 1, tap and sacrifice Moonsilver Key, search your life for an artifact card with a mana ability, such as Great Henge even, and reveal it, put it in your hand, and then shuffle. Godsend is a rather underplayed equipment card. It gives a equipped creature +3/+3. Whenever a equipped creature blocks or becomes blocked by one or more creatures, you can exile one of those creatures. And your opponents can't cast cards with the same names as cards exiled with Godsend. It's that Commander Classic. It's Soul Ring, 1-drop, add 2. Liquid Metal Talk is a 2-drop, lets you add a colourless, and also lets you turn target non-land permanent into an artifact until end of turn. As you see, we've got quite a lot of ways of removing artifacts, either when a creature enters or by sacrificing a creature. So obviously being able to turn something an opponent controls into an artifact to blow up is always nice. And last of all, it's a classic of any tribal deck, it's Herald Torn. It's a 3-drop, as it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures you cast of the chosen type are 1 less to cast, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you may look at the top card of your library. If it's a creature card of the chosen type, you can reveal it and put it into your hand. We've cut the Planeswalkers down. We're now just sitting currently on 3 until I get the Ajani completed. We have stuck with Ajani the Great-Hearted to give all my creatures Vigilance. +1 gain 3 life, -2 put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control, and a loyalty counter on each other Planeswalker you control. Ajani Unyielding lets you +2 reveal the top 3 cards of your library, put all non-land permanent cards revealed this way into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. -2 exile target creature, its controller gains life equal to its power. And -9, but 5 +1/+1 counters on each creature you control, and 5 loyalty counters on each other Planeswalker you control. And then lastly is Ajani Valiant Protector. +2 is again put 2 +1/+1 counters on 1 target creature. +1 reveal cards on the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Put that card into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And then -11, put X +1/+1 counters on target creature, where X is your life total. That creature gains trample until end of turn. Land bases in the deck. I am currently sitting on 12 basic forests, 12 basic plains, and our non-basics are Mosswort Bridge with Hideaway, Overgrown Farmland, Branch Loft Pathway, the Selesnya Sanctuary, a Razor Verge Thicket, Path of Ancestry, Rogue's Passage, Command Tower, and last of all, but by no means least, is Temple Garden. So, I'm hoping you like the changes that have been made to this deck, and you can see why they've been made and how this will change the power levels. There will be a link to Tapped Out for a complete deck list in the description below. And as always, thank you for watching. Any likes and comments are always appreciated. And we hope to see you next time. Until then, take it easy.